What is going on, all of you amazing gamers out there in the world? I am MegaAmpster. Thank you for being here, whether you are a new or returning viewer. Always appreciate the support, and we've got an important topic today. Originally was going to make it into a YouTube short, but I figured I had more to say on this topic because we're talking about the future of Xbox here, and this has exploded online over the weekend as of this recording. Now, the whole thing that's coming up is there have been a lot of claims about major Xbox games going multi-platform. Now, about a month ago as of this recording, Nate the Hate, who I trust he's a reliable source, did mention that a previous Xbox Game of the Year contender would be going multi-platform at some point. Might have even been for 2024, and a lot of people were speculating Hi-Fi Rush, which honestly kind of makes sense. Get more players exposed to that game. Recently, there were PS5 and Switch related icons, not 100% confirmed icons, but they pretty much have the same branding, like color scheme as those. So they're being associated as those versions of Hi-Fi Rush. Especially on Switch, I think that game makes a ton of sense. Hopefully it will run okay, and I'm fine with that because I want more people to play that game and more players to experience that, and it gets more money for Bethesda and Microsoft, right? So it's kind of a win-win there. However, it is not a win-win for a lot of hardcore Xbox fans who are getting very upset by this news because, I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of times, this has kind of been the general flow for a while is, since especially even like Atari, since the creation of video game platforms like PCs, like consoles, you could even argue arcades, is that you get these systems to play their exclusive games. And with third parties, it's always like a little different because it's like, oh, like which version do I get? Do I get the one that has better performance or better visuals and stuff like with third parties, it's always been a little different. But with especially these first party games, that's what it's always been about, right? Is, oh, I want to play this game, so I'm going to do this. Now, to be fair, compared to Switch and Sony, just objectively, Xbox has kind of struggled in recent years when it comes to first party output. We've seen that, with Halo Infinite that launched being not great. Certain games, Redfall, not a great situation. Starfield was very mixed, I mean, there have been some successes here and there too, for sure. It's not like there haven't been any success. I mean, Hi-Fi Rush, even though it was only 2-3 million players, still that game was a success in Xbox and Bethesda's eyes. Now they own Activision Blizzard, so there have been, some good games for them. But in terms of recognizable, iconic franchises from Xbox, I mean, the big one was, and for now I think probably still is, Halo. Feel free to correct me if that's wrong. But I feel, and maybe I guess Elder Scrolls now that Bethesda's under them. But, compared to Nintendo and Sony, I mean, they have very iconic, recognizable first-party game series. Whereas Xbox has been struggling a little bit. Now, the news that has come out very recently, like I said, over the weekend, has been major Xbox games coming to other platforms. And the big one being Starfield, but others as well. And Xbox has done this before. They've brought their games to other systems. The big examples that I can think of are Cuphead on Switch. Both Ori games are on Switch. After the fact, certain Bethesda, Elder Scrolls games, stuff like that. I mean, that was tough because obviously they were on other platforms before Xbox bought them. Xbox has allowed Minecraft to exist on other platforms. So certain games that seemingly have made sense, at least in our minds from a consumer's perspective, it's been okay, they brought some of them, but some of their heavy hitters, the ones that are system-defining games like Starfield, games like Indiana Jones supposedly is going to be, games like Gears of War are now all being speculated on, confirmed by multiple sources, including Nate the Hate himself. I think I only saw he confirmed Starfield for PS5, but I've seen a bunch of other sources, back up behind Indiana Jones, like IGN's reporting here. And possibly Starfield. GameSpot talking about Starfield, Gears of War. So definitely a lot. Now, I think Hi-Fi Rush is still happening. And personally, I would personally love that because then, you get more people to play your game, right? And I want more people to play Hi-Fi Rush because that is now one of my favorite games of all time. Here's my thing. Here's my perspective on this opinion. Yes, Xbox is a first-party platform holder right now. And I totally understand the mentality of wanting to buy hardware for exclusive games. However, and maybe this is just my personal spot that I'm in right now. Like I like my Xbox. I don't have a PlayStation. I've never owned a PlayStation. I like my Series X because it is a way for me to play high-end games, not on my PC. That's what I like. You know, unfortunately, can't really say physical games anymore because Xbox games are really just downloads on a disc, right? Or downloaders, I should say, installers on a disc. Game isn't actually stored on the disc there, at least not most of it. So it's definitely, I can't say that, but like I like having the home console experience hooked into my TV, sitting on the couch and playing with my Xbox. So regardless if a game is exclusive or not, most of my Xbox games, in fact, growing up, and this is probably why I feel this way, most of the games I played on the original Xbox, the Xbox 360, and now the Series X are third-party games. Like, that's just how I've played Xbox. And I think because for me, I was never super interested in the first-party games. Now, I had a passing curiosity in Halo. Gears of War I cannot give two craps about, but I've heard it's great. But, you know, like certain stuff I'm not super interested in. Indiana Jones looked very interesting to me. Passing curiosity in Starfield. And I guess now Elder Scrolls, but obviously, like I said, that was before Xbox had bought them. So, for me, and I guess Hi-Fi Rush, right? For me, Xbox has always been about like experiencing games the best way I possibly can on a home console. That is what Xbox has been for me. You know, whereas compared to something like the Switch, I still play some third-party games, but they're usually the smaller size ones or Nintendo exclusives. But I tend to play a lot of third-party games on my Xbox specifically when I don't want to play them on PC, which I usually choose Xbox over PC any day. So this is just my personal stance where like I am totally fine with this. Like I could see why you'd be asking, well, what's the point of buying, let's say Xbox does make another piece of hardware, and we're going to get into that in a second. You know, what would be the point of buying it if none of these big heavy hitter games are going to be exclusive? And I think that's totally valid. I think it's totally fair, especially for these fans of Xbox who are kind of getting angry. Like, I think it's valid because it's like, yeah, why would you? Like, what is Xbox going to offer that's different from other, you know, hardware manufacturers and other platform holders? And I think the big thing is going to come down to Game Pass. I am starting to suspect, I know we had that slide deck from a few years ago that leaked during the FTC cases about, you know, that mid-gen refresh of the Xbox Series X and the all-digital version, adorably digital as they called it. I honestly, maybe they'll do that still. I don't know if we're gonna get new Xbox hardware beyond the Series X. Like, I know people have been saying it for a while, especially with Xbox going fully all digital now and like cutting back and unfortunately laying off a ton of their physical gaming division. Like, this might be it. Like, Series X might be the last piece of hardware that Xbox makes, and they will be full send on Game Pass, which puts them in a unique position. And I'm wondering if this is what they're going to go for. Like, they're going to send all in, like, hey, you pay us, what is it, 15 to 20 bucks a month? I don't know how much Game Pass is now. I don't pay for it. Pay this much a month, you get access to all these games on other systems potentially. I mean, we see it with like the ROG Ally, right? You can get Game Pass through that in PC. There's a certain TV, I think it might be a Samsung, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, that just has like direct Xbox integration there on your phone through xCloud. And I mean, they would love to get Game Pass on PS5 and Switch, but of course, Sony and Nintendo aren't going to want to do that, right? So it's like, but I mean, Xbox would love that. So yeah, it's definitely a bit of a business shift. So beforehand, like a month ago to this recording, when people were like, oh, like Xbox is doomed because of one game getting announced to go multiplayer, I was like, okay, this is weird. Like, we've been doing this for a while. Now, no, there's something else going on, especially because over on X, this was actually today. Look at that, very recently. This was like 6 hours ago. Phil Spencer on X. We're listening and we hear you. We've been planning a business update event for next week. That's massive, where we look forward to sharing more details with you about our vision for the future of Xbox. Stay tuned. So something major is shifting at Xbox. And I think it might be the announcement. I don't know if it's quite like third party. I don't know what they're going to be considered. Like, I think something shifting with Xbox. And I mean, we've been seeing it with their focus on Game Pass, with their scaling back of physical games. I think this might be their announcement of like almost like they're done with hardware. I could see it. Like, I think for Xbox, it probably makes a lot of sense, you know, to be like, let's just go fully in on Game Pass. And assuming we get our numbers up, then we'll be able to be sustainable that way. I don't know if a Game Pass is sustainable currently. I don't know the metrics behind that. But that, I think they might be full sending it and just be done with hardware. I could totally see it, because at the same time, you could develop another Xbox as a Game Pass machine, but they could also develop some other streaming system instead, or I know there was that Project Keystone a while ago. I don't know. I think those rumors died out. Something like that, where it's just like a streaming box essentially, and it's all through xCloud streaming on Game Pass, and that's it. You don't buy their games straight up anymore. I don't know. Who's to say? I mean, we'll probably find out something next week, but this is big. This is the business update event. That is very formal, and that sounds like it's going to be kind of a major shift and announcement from them next week. So we'll see. I'll probably do a follow-up video next week talking about that, because I mean, this could be, I don't want to say the future of gaming. It's going to be the future of Xbox for sure. And Xbox fans, Xbox Series X console fans are not going to be happy from this. I mean, they're already not. You see people just screaming about this. Personally, I think this is fine, because, well, first of all, I'm not huge into Game Pass, so that part kind of sucks if they're going to stop their hardware, because I do like Xbox hardware. So if they're stopping their hardware division, that'll kind of stink, honestly. But if they're going to mention some of their games going multi-plat, personally, get more people to play those games. It'll get more revenue for Xbox. The only people that's really getting screwed over are, I mean, I guess the devs have to make more versions of a game, right? Especially the Switch version, they gotta optimize that a little bit. Or, I mean, diehard Xbox fans who bought a Series X thinking that their games were going to be fully, exclusive. But I could understand that mentality. Personally, I'm get more people to play these games. That's just my stance, though. But yeah, it's definitely just all the discourse online. I don't know if this list is real. I've heard Sea of Thieves as well. I have not heard Doom Year Zero. I thought Doom Year Zero might have been canceled. Doom Year Zero and Hellblade 2, I did not hear about those going multiplayer. I mean, Hellblade 1's already on Switch, and I don't know about PS5, but it's on Switch, I know. So, I mean, people saying this is bad, I don't know. It's hard to say if this is bad. The backwards compatibility thing, I will miss that. And if they do right, no more physical hardware, that would kind of get rid of that. I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting to see these perspectives online. I mean, if you've been a dedicated Xbox fan for so long and you like having these exclusive games, I get that. I don't know. I just think, honestly, the whole console fanboy mentality, I think, is a little outdated. We're still kind of in that era, but honestly, sometimes I think console exclusives are kind of dumb. I know it incentivizes companies to get their consumers to pay for certain systems, right? But I love the fact that Sony's putting their games on Steam. I finally get to play Spider-Man Remastered. I could play the Horizon games. I could play God of War. I could play The Last of Us. Even though I heard that one's not great, on PC. So I don't know. I think the more ways there are for people to play these games, the better, personally. For consumers overall, this could be good depending on what they're doing. However, for Xbox fans in particular, who are only Xbox fans, I could understand why they're mad, because their exclusives are going off. Imagine if Nintendo did this, people would be screaming. I would honestly, I mean, I'd probably be fine with that too. It's just, I don't know. For me, I'm looking at it more ways for people to play some of these games. So, I don't know. That might just be me. Let me know your thoughts on this topic in the comments below. We're going to hear more about this soon. Like Phil said, sometime next week as of this recording, we should be hearing a big update in terms of their business strategy from them. So we'll follow up then. But until then, thanks for watching. Appreciate you taking the time, and I will catch you all on the next video or live stream. And until next time, take care.